Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So, not gonna lie, I think for the last few times I was trying to film or sketch, I did end up scrapping 2 canvases and it ended up with having one session, which I filmed only 40 minutes of, and then deciding that I don't like it anymore, which I'll show you guys in a bit. So by the time you guys are watching this video, I'll be in 2 days, I think. Monday is when it comes out, which is Witch Hat Atelier, which is probably one of my favorite series, if not the top favorite series for me now. Apologies to like Haikyuu, Gintama, Chihayafuru, Kimi ni Toroke, all those. But Witch Hat Atelier has like gripped me so hard that I'm in too deep. So we are going to be doing some Witch Hat Atelier fan art. But because of just like, I don't know if it's the sudden drop of constantly go with drawing and then taking like a 2-3 day break. Now that I'm back into drawing, I feel rusty again. So last night I ended up drawing our 4 girls. So these are 4 of our protagonists in Witch Hat Atelier. But then for a sketch page, I was like, I didn't include Qifrey, I didn't include Olruggio, who's my favorite. So I'm thinking to make it a little bit easier, as well as for kind of like introduce the series to anybody who isn't like as familiar with it, I was thinking maybe I'll go back. Which folder is it in? I guess it's in here. That's for a friend. We're gonna duplicate our 6 fan art template. We'll pop it into this folder so that we can draw all 6 characters, because I'm gonna only draw the 6 what I would consider like the mains, because there's so many side characters that I love in this series, but there's no way I can get to all of them. In the future, I'll definitely make fan art of them probably more often. I'm kind of stuck in the state where I love this series so much that all of the fan art that I do that I feel like I do injustice up to the series, I tend to either scrap or I don't want to show. You would have saw a little bit, I think, in my previous sketchbook tour actually, but in my current one, I don't want to show too many spoilers is the thing. So I'll try my best to keep everything in the series when I talk about it spoiler free. But one, I think it's the latest chapter, chapter 95, I think it's like the latest English chapter release that we get before the anime officially comes out. I don't know if sites have it. I've seen it by chance and I was able to read it, but I'm obsessed with chapter 95's outfits and stuff, so I will draw those in the future when it officially comes out. But I really do love Witch Hat Atelier, so there's like a few sketches in here I think that I have of, you know, Olruggio's in here. Definitely lots of sketches of, definitely lots of sketches of him every so often. He's definitely a character that I'm not used to drawing because I don't draw characters with facial hair typically either, but I draw him a lot in my sketchbook. Qifrey was going to be my favorite, and he is one of my favorites. If anything, all 6 of these characters are my favorite. Olruggio I just love so much though. And I have a hard time picking a favorite out of the 4 main girls. But I'm glad that I think in chapter 95 we're gonna get more of like Olruggio and hopefully Tatia. I'm hoping for more Tatia, so. But yes, we're gonna do the 6 fan art challenge. So what I'm gonna do is do a similar format how I usually do it. So we're gonna duplicate our template, which I just found off the internet. I just made the resolution super high so that I can draw each one at a fairly large scale. So this is going to be a chatty video. I might see if I can dedicate about 10 minutes per character. So if this is like an hour or longer type of video, then I apologize, but I want to talk about Witch Hat as much as I can. Without making it like spoilery, if that makes sense, as well as keeping things in real time, and hopefully me sketching in real time will make me less inclined to scrap the video, which is kind of like my fallback. I don't know how to explain it. So I think format wise, I'm gonna start with Qifrey, we're gonna end with Olruggio so that I can keep the girls kind of like 2 and 2. So most likely it'll be Qifrey, I think Coco, Agot, and then I will do I think Riche, Tatia, and the Olruggio. I might switch them around. Already drawing on the wrong layer. We're gonna lower the opacity. The thing with these ones, I want to do something like more extravagant, but I can't really think of anything that would fit nicely in the box. For like future live streams, I'll probably take you guys along with me while I make like actual full illustrations of stuff that I want to make of different fan arts. Because right now, I'm stuck in between like just wanting to draw and doodle versus like making illustrations. I'm kind of like in the between feelings of like, do I want to make more finished stuff so that I have things for conventions as well as just having finished stuff for like me, like a future portfolio, all that stuff. Or just turning out drawings because I just want to doodle and draw, you know? So I think I've mentioned in the past that even if you're not really into like reading the manga or getting into the series per se, if you just like pretty art or you like more, how do I explain it? I guess like Art Nouveau, Art Deco kind of ish aesthetic, I would recommend checking out the offer. So it's like Kamome Shirahama. Beautiful art. Beautiful, beautiful art. Beautiful inking, beautiful coloring, storytelling, the way they do their frames. Like there's so much like stuff I could talk about for this artist in particular. So Qifrey, in the story, I'm trying to make sure I don't say any spoilers, is basically going to be the kind of like teacher mentor to our protagonist, which is going to be Coco, who I will be drawing next. I thought it'd just be fitting if I start with one of the mentor like characters like Qifrey and then end on our other one who is a little bit more begrudgingly kind of one of their masters or their mentor, which is Olruggio. The dynamic of the characters I just really like because I feel like you can tell their resolve or like their purpose or, you know, some sort of inkling on why they are the way they are like quite quickly. And I always love the kind of like found family, also mentor student kind of family relationship where you get to watch these young, some sort of like, I guess in this case it would be like apprentices, blossom into the type of witch that you may or may not think they'll become under the guidance of our lovely little masters here, which I'm always so thankful. A lot of the times, like when I enjoy a series, there's always like one character that like I gravitate towards. This one, I'm like, I love everybody, especially the main cast. But there's so many other like side characters in the manga that I love and I cherish and adore. And it makes me sad about some of them, but you know, it's good for storytelling. So I don't know if I want to give him a softer expression. So the thing I like about Qifrey, especially visually, initially like when I first saw him, because there is an artist that I follow that always has done Witch Hat Atelier fan art from time to time. Kind of like more on their stories, they show their doodles and stuff. They also use Paint Tool Sai, which always makes me so happy. So I really do love this artist. I'll put them on the screen. I always love their stuff. But I think that was like my first time being exposed to Witch Hat Atelier stuff. And I've never like really acted upon like, oh, I want to pick up this series or whatever, because I have not really been reading as much manga as I have been compared to when I was younger. But this is what I'm saying, like the series made it very easy for me to get hooked. And I think part of it is because like it's been like a super long time since I've like got hooked on a manga. But then here comes this one that literally changed like my brain chemistry or something. Because like I mentioned, if you just like good world building, beautiful, beautiful art, like I cannot recommend this series enough if you just like beautiful art and inking with like a lot of hatching and whimsy, and I don't know how to explain it. It's just like the detailing, the illustrations that she does, beautiful. I feel like it's gonna be hard for me to edit this down. I'm gonna be yapping so much. So if things seem very incoherent, I do apologize. It's probably me trying to limit my yapping. I won't talk about like the summary as much either because I don't think I'm going to do it justice. So if you're interested in just like reading up about the summary or the synopsis of this particular manga and anime that's gonna come out on Monday. Do check it out. Because, like, the thing is, I don't know how I want to draw Qifrey per se. Because attractive, yes. But also very soft in his, like, demeanor. I am also... I'm gonna have to tell myself, like, to shut up at some point. But, oh, yeah. Maybe I'll put a warning at the very beginning of the video. It's gonna be a very scatterbrained, yappy type of video, if you couldn't already tell. So if that's not your type of video, I promise I'll have a more ASMR, quieter, even less talking session a little bit later. Probably next week, maybe not next week, we'll see. But I need to talk about this. I was gonna save it for when I was gonna plan an illustration of Qifrey and Olruggio for a live stream, but I want to talk about it now, probably. For Witch Hat Atelier, at least one of them, I believe. I'm waiting for my grimoire to arrive, but I think it gets shipped out in May. But I have... Oof. Okay. I have this book. I've showed it in previous live streams as well, because I cannot stop talking about, like, the art in this book. It's so lovely. Oh, and look, Judy. I can't even show it on camera that well. I love her. She's so cute. Him too. He's so funny. Him and Olruggio. But there's so many, like, beautiful characters. Like Riche's brother. We have I Forgot Your Name. One of the proctors. These two break my heart. Qifrey and Olruggio and their kids. Maybe I shouldn't have made this a talking video. It's gonna take me forever to even just draw. Oh, but I was so, like, gung-ho about wanting to make potentially, like, fan art or fan, like, what is it called? Photo cards. I was gonna push myself to draw as many photo cards as I could for this series for Bungu Mart, but I did not have the time. I kept debating about it because I was like, I would love to make one of all the girls and then make one for obviously Qifrey and Olruggio, because I know a lot of people ship them and they like them a lot. I like them. I do this pose a lot, but I feel like this is also very fitting for Qifrey. But there's, like, so many, like, little quirks that I'm thinking about, like our main 4 girls I love so much. I'm also... I don't know, has it been revealed how many episodes is gonna be, like, in the series for the first season? I've talked about it a little bit in, I think, Wednesday's video, where I was doing, like, the sketchbook session. Because some people, me included, were a little bit worried about, like, where the first season was gonna end, depending on how many episodes there are. Okay, but, like, aesthetically, Qifrey is, like, 100% like up my alley. He's definitely more of, like, a softer character. Well, that's what I was gonna talk about. Man, yeah, this video is gonna be hella long. I'm so sorry. But he's a softer character. He's the mentor type to our 4 apprentices. Visually, also attractive. He kind of has, like, cute, but, like, pretty, if that makes sense. I've talked about it in a different video that I said is about that I like pretty men for, like, when I draw and stuff, because I guess, like, the definition of pretty or handsome is very subjective to each person. So, you know, I'm sure some people might not find, like, Qifrey, you know, their type or anything like that, and that's perfectly fine. Some people might prefer Olruggio and all that stuff. For me, Olruggio was sold by his, like, demeanor. Because facial hair characters are usually not my type, typically. But I do like Olruggio. That, or maybe because, like, as I'm getting older, I prefer maybe that type a little bit more. Who knows? But the thing I was trying to get at is the fact that the voice actors... So I believe the 4 girls are voiced by... I think... Is it all of them? Or maybe it's just Coco? It's, like, upcoming new talent, basically. And then we have Hanae Natsuki, which I'm so happy because he's definitely one of my favorite voice actors for, like, JP seiyus. And then Olruggio, bless. So for JP, I might have to lower. The problem with this is, like, I'm gonna have to cut this off. I want to put his hat in so badly. Which if you know anything about the series, this is like something very far along in the series about something in particular about Qifrey's hat. And it solidified so many things in my brain about this series that I can't let go of. But the voice actor for, or like the JP Seiyu, which is none other than Yuichi Nakamura. So Yuichi, I believe, I'm trying to think of like his most well-known roles. He's Gray from Fairy Tail. He's Kuro from Haikyuu. Can't remember a bunch of other ones, but he has like a very distinct voice, so I'm very glad that he's gonna be Olruggio. Olruggio is just gonna I think it fits him quite well. I know some people had other people in mind, but every time I see like a slightly more cold-ish character with black hair, I'm like, Yuichi Nakamura is like my first thought. Because I think some people thought it would be like Junichi Suabe, who's like the voice actor for, I think, Sukuna. Who else is there? Artem from Tears of Themis, which I also love his voice for Artem. I always imagine that they're in their slightly late 20s, I think, for Qifrey and Olruggio. Because I know they're pretty much the same age. But I would say like they're maybe like 27, 28. And the girls, I think, typically are like what? Like 10-ish, maybe? Like, they're young. Also, I forgot to talk about this, like, right at the top. It's not exactly, like, a fluffy anime. It does have some darker themes, especially as you move further along in the story. So that's, like, something you're not interested in. Read a synopsis. Read as much as you can, maybe. And then as soon as it gets uncomfy for you, I would probably stop. Because I talked about this with my friend, that's the fact that chapter 95 has like the biggest chokehold on me right now because of... Is it spoilers? I don't know how you can say it. Their outfits are so cute. And considering... Okay, I think I've already mentioned this before. I live in Canada, and we have something called Fall Spring. And it's really been pissing me off this year. Usually it's not as bad, so you would get spring for maybe like, let's say plus 15 for a few days. And then suddenly, literally the next day, you get like negative, I don't even know, negative 10. And you get 10 inches of snow or whatever. And then the next day, it will be back to plus 15. And basically, it's like a back and forth. We're going hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. And I hate it so much because this year, it's been dumping so much snow. Previous years, it would dump snow like maybe once or twice and then remain cold and icy for like a while. Then it'll get like, you know, sunny, melt some stuff. It'll get cold again, maybe like sprinkle some snow here and there, but never like consistently dumping snow every 4 days-ish. I'm just saying, like, the shoveling's taking a toll on me because it's like wet snow, so it's like extremely heavy and it's not exactly easy to push. Is that, do I want to color? I think that'll be the easiest. Color as we go rather than sketching all 6. So we're gonna treat it the same way I've treated all my 6 fan art challenge ones. Change this to multiply. I'm gonna lighten up our sketch. I'm gonna add in a background color, which I'm gonna use a light blue, probably, to depict water. So, also, if you like fantasy anime, this is gonna be like 100% up your alley. Especially if you liked, I think, Dungeon Meshi and Frieren. Definitely check out Witch Hat Atelier, because it does tick off the boxes for a lot of like fantasy anime, in my opinion. For fantasy anime, I love Frieren a lot. I like it, I think, a little bit more than I did for Dungeon Meshi. Even though I love Dungeon Meshi, and I'm not quite caught up in the manga, but there's like a lot of characters that I like. Or there's one particular character. I'm so excited for Witch Hat. Like, I definitely won't shut up about it. And I'm glad the premiere is gonna have 2 episodes. I'm gonna try my best to do all these characters justice. That was like part of the reason why I was low-key a little bit art blocky. Not art blocky, not very pleased with my stuff, I think, because I was always thinking the fact that like, oh, my art isn't good for a series that I love and adore so much. I might put like a white stroke around the text so that we can still have the give me 6 characters still cut through. Also, music-wise, I didn't really have anything that I wanted to listen to in particular, but because I've been playing a lot of Pokopia, like I mentioned in Wednesday's video, I have been listening to a Pokemon Pokopia calming music to help you relax and sleep with soft rain type of video. Also, when making fan art, I always have to remind myself that it is fan art, you know? So either my tendencies or stuff that's more like signature or things that I like to do in my art is still gonna pop through quite a bit. So I shouldn't be too attached to being like, oh, my art will never look like Shirahama, which it probably will never. But you know, that's okay. I don't think I wanted to head in that direction, but every time I make fan art, it does get into that point where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna scrap everything because it's not living up to even my own expectations. Round him out just a smidge so that he still retains a little bit of that softness. But if you guys already have consumed any Witch Hat Atelier art and or anything of the medium, I guess, like the manga, whichever you've witnessed or whatever, who's your favorite character? Let me know, because there's so many characters that I feel like you could like. Some things it's a little hard for me to talk about without giving spoilers, so a lot of it I won't touch upon. And maybe I'll get all of my yapping out of the way while I draw Qifrey, and then you guys will be freed from it until we get to Olruggio. There's like one small thing I really want to doodle. I did doodle it in my sketchbook of Olruggio because of the recent chapter like I talked about. Because I find that man incredibly endearing. As I do for like any of the characters in of these 6 especially. I don't think I've even asked my friend. So I think about 2 years ago, because I think it was the tail end of 2024 or like midway through 2024 is when I picked up Witch Hat Atelier, like finally, like fully, without just like consuming just like art of it. I got my friend into it, and she's like a speed reader. So she read it within like, I don't even know, the first few weeks that I've told her. And then I had an event that I ended up going with her to, and then she was telling me about it. I'm like, girl, I'm like a third of the way done of like at the time the recent chapters, and I'm like, you're way too fast. But I don't mind spoilers, so I didn't mind if she wanted to yap and talk about it, because like I said, I've low-key seen and read like, you know, a bunch of different things kind of like out of order in a sense, because of how my Twitter or like Instagram, like the artists I follow will post things, so I'll see it in passing. So I'm not really like against seeing stuff that are more spoilery. I want to add a little bit more purple, but I think I'll do that for a stream because I would love to just yap and do some either coloring or rendering or sketching. Probably not sketching. I probably want to figure that out prior to doing a live stream, so I'm not like fussing the entire time. Patreon sticker rewards to send out and pack. What else is there? I ended up also joining like a little consignment thing locally. So I ended up getting my setup done. I ended up setting up, I think yesterday. But yes, Qifrey is very much like, I thought he was going to be my favorite character, like the favorite character. Alongside with probably, I think it's either Agot or Coco out of the girls that is closer to being one of my favorites. I can't definitively like say which one because I love all of them so much for different reasons. And like they have such good character dynamics. That's like, it's not all stereotypical, like, you know, you have like maybe one that's more like tsundere, one that's more Genki, ones that's like, I don't know how to explain it. They all have like different motivations and stuff that I find that you might get surprised by. Yeah, maybe I'll get all the yapping out of the way during Qifrey's. You guys are gonna have to suffer through Qifrey if he's your favorite. But I want to do my best. I want to do my best to draw also like Olruggio and some of the other characters a lot more, considering they're like subtly kind of like character types that I don't draw a lot, you know? But with the voice actor Seiyu talk that I was talking about earlier, the fact that they have more veteran voice actors, like Yuichi Nakamura, even Hanae Natsuki, and then pairing them up basically with also the girls who are apprentices are also, I think they're supposed to be like new Seiyu VAs, which I'm happy about, because when I heard the voices, I was like, that's perfect for Coco. And she's like super adorable. I think she did like a tour of the studio for, is it Bugs Film? Such a cute person. Also, I like the, I guess it's like kind of like the magic system. How do you call it? I don't even know if it's like a system per se. The way that the witches do magic in this world, I do like the premise of. And I think it's another reason why, one, a lot of artists really like this series. Because there's a lot of parallels towards like drawing and art in this, obviously, as well as paired up with like Shirahama's beautiful drawing, inking, storytelling skills that I feel like a lot of artists will just appreciate in general. And they also have this art book, but I ended up getting mine online because that store did not have it at the time. But I feel like they're so up to date now that I might pop in and grab a book or two whenever it comes out. Because I also have, I think it's volume 7 of the manga, because I really love that cover. And they didn't have some of the other ones in stock because probably other people have already snatched them away. That's kind of like my goal. I don't know if I'm going to be getting into any other local-ish conventions, but if I am, I'm debating which friend I will ask to help me. But I kind of want to take the friend that is also into Witch Hat so that she can also peruse Artist Alley with me. Because I think both of us are very much like Witch Hat pilled. We're looking for like specifically Witch Hat merch now. Kind of like that. Man, every time I look at the art for Witch Hat Atelier, it just makes me happy. I will not probably shut up about the series at all. Actually went to eat lunch, but coming back to this, I think he's looking a little too yellow. I'm just go over only the skin areas. We're also gonna clip this, and I'm going to adjust. So basically I'm going the opposite way, so we're making it much more pink, but then to make sure it doesn't read too much of just the pink. So this is kind of the, I don't know how well you guys can see, this is the yellow. This is with the pink. I think it's much more subtle on camera. I'll do something like that, and then we'll just merge it down. So hopefully it's not too off, I guess. But we're gonna switch to sharp render, and we're gonna kind of clean them up. Add some detailing. Also just render and hopefully buff out a few things here and there, and then we will move on to Coco. Let's zoom in. I guess I kind of like him looking upwards. I want to give him like a softer smile. That's the thing. So we're also gonna... So typically when I start rendering, I'm gonna start with the eyes, and we're gonna move kind of like outwards. I think before, a long time ago, I would start with like the nose and the mouth to kind of get me started, because they were kind of like lower stakes. Right now, I think rendering eyes is like one of my favorite things to do, just because it does bring a lot of life into the face again. So it's gonna be a lot of back and forth with me color picking. And the one thing I like doing a lot, especially when rendering, is darkening up a lot of my lines, because I know how I am when it comes to like doing final touches or like finishing things up. I do like darkening lines as kind of like one of the final steps. So because of that, I purposely make my lines like fairly light before merging, so that I give myself all this room to really darken and pick. Because before, I would leave it kind of into that mid-tone range, and I would actually have to cover up a lot of it and either erase or, you know, choose some colors that are next to it so that I could cover it up and then redo the colors again. So I found this is a little bit easier. I always debate whether or not I want to give like Qifrey lashes that are a little bit more visible. Because like I said, he's very, at least to me, he's very pretty. Because even when I think when I draw Olruggio as well, I give him a little bit of under eyelash. But because I was like cutting out stickers, I forget what it was for. I think it might have been the stamp rally. I made stickers that were small, but apparently not small enough. But it only required me to use half a sheet of sticker paper, and I'm like, that's kind of like a waste for me to cut only half, and then the other half is low-key unusable. Let me show you guys, because I think it's a little bit bigger than these ones. I have like my little Witch Hat Atelier stickers on here right now. So we have Qifrey, we have Olruggio, Coco, Agot, Tatia, and Riche, and then I have another one of Coco, which I wanted to turn her into like a little charm. I just wasn't sold on the design, so I might change it and include like the brush buddy in a bigger way, because I think it'll be cute. These are like the little stickers that I made for the stamp rally. So because they're so tiny, I ended up printing like, you know, some extra stuff to fill up the space. But I seriously find Qifrey so pretty. So I just want to do him justice. The girls I'm probably more worried about in terms of drawing them well enough. Same with Olruggio, since males that are a little bit more scruffier, it's not my strong suit. But I want to do a little bit of like some studies about the plants and stuff in this world. There's one very important one that I want to figure out how can I depict, because it's so important. I want to be able to do it justice, but also like, you know, people will be able to recognize it if you're familiar enough with the series. Because I've talked about this, and I know like you don't have to share the same sentiment as me. If anything, I probably would recommend that you don't, but it's just how my brain is. It's the fact that for me to like want to make fan art properly or to get into a series, I feel like I do have to consume like a certain amount before I feel I'm trying to find out a way how to describe it. Make it feel like I'm actually like a genuine fan of the series, you know? So for me, I didn't feel like I was able to fully complete reading I couldn't do fan art of Witch Hat Atelier, which is just like a very bad mindset. You don't have to do this, by the way. If anything, like I said, I recommend that you don't. It's the fact that I didn't want to do any Witch Hat Atelier fan art, technically, until I was fully caught up and I understood everything that I wanted to understand. Because the last thing I want to do is make fan art that's like not accurate, and for people to either question or want to talk about it, and for me to not give like a proper response. You know what I mean? You don't have to be like as particular like I am. It's just, for me, it gives me more anxiety that if I don't know what I'm talking about, I most likely won't talk about it. I don't mind asking questions or receiving questions, but being able to give a proper answer, especially if someone is genuinely like curious or, you know, just wants to know, I want to be able to be in a position to give them a proper answer. That, or I should just say like, you know, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with saying like, oh, just because you want to, or like, you know, oh, not for no reason, or like, oh, I think it's pretty, all that stuff. But like certain things, I just find that it's better for me to have like at least base knowledge on if I want to talk about it. And because like I'm actually fully caught up, I did reread like some chapters because I did take breaks in between reading the manga so that I could at least have a full grasp of what I've witnessed. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like how my brain wants to think about it, that it feels wrong for me to do, even though there's technically nothing wrong with it. You can draw characters because you think they look nice, they look pretty. Even if you're not like a fan of the series, maybe you just like the one character, there's like nothing wrong with that. It's just how my brain hyperfixates on characters that I want to be like all in or nothing. I also mostly think it's because my brain overthinks a lot. Because a part of me knows that it's because I am low-key being perceived. And a lot of the times, you know, I don't want to be perceived for things that I'm drawing for fun, because even those things can be like, you know, questioned or judged in a way. But there's not like a way to prevent that per se, right? Because like bottom line is I want to share art. I want to share like my hyperfixations and characters that I like. Kind of like the eye color a little bit, or do we want to go warmer? I feel like warmer makes more sense. We can also alpha lock it and maybe make it a little bit more blue. What am I saying? The border for some of these, so that it looks like it's popping out of the frame. And then we'll move on to Coco. Now, unfortunately, this is kind of... I just realized it would have been easier for me to just erase the frame on the outside as well instead, because I would have gave it the same effect. But I think that's it for Qifrey. I do like how I drew him this time compared to the one that I did last time. But I think it's just because the face angle also is a little bit more natural for me to draw versus the one that I did, which was him looking upwards a little bit more. But we're just gonna... I'm gonna duplicate this. We're gonna keep a copy of each of these later, and I don't need to keep my sketch. Oh, I think I said this earlier. Coco is technically one of the harder ones for me to draw. I don't know if it's because every time I've drawn her bangs, it just doesn't look like her. But, well, I love this picture so much. So this is the one I ended up drawing earlier. We're gonna do something similar. Shoujo eyes sometimes throw me off with how large they are. And I think that's why sometimes I struggle drawing like younger children characters. Coco's like 10, I think, right? A lot of the kid protagonists, I feel like, for animes and games, they're always like around maybe 10 to 12. And she is one of the ones that is a little bit harder for me to draw. I want to try my best. Because she does have more of like that Genki kind of like cheerful demeanor. And I think the fact that her love for like magic and like the witches and stuff, I always do love. But she has like a very interesting character as she progresses in the story, which I really like. Same with the rest of the other girls, because I feel like all of them have like a very particular reason of why they do the things they do. But it often gets challenged, so I don't want to make this. I'm thinking of how we can add her hands in here. Which I might have to look up again. Because I know we get a better look at her pen somewhere in the story. Oof, I didn't set this on a different layer. Whoops. I was gonna add her one more hand, but I don't think we can fit it in a way that makes sense without making me look like I'm forcing the hand to be in there. Okay, I'm gonna merge this down, make a new layer for her hair, because like I said, the hair is kind of the one part that I feel like I always struggle with in terms of drawing her. front of Qifrey, because I don't really mind. There's a bit of overlapping. But with the girls being like constantly challenged with about their, I guess their view on magic, as well as their resolves about being witches? Is that how can I explain it? Oops. Not only that, I talked about this before as well. It might have been for a live stream, so I don't know if I said it in a video. The color palette for their uniforms is my favorite. It does have more of that kind of teal turquoise color palette, which I find oh so eye-catching to me. So every time I saw like an artist use it, I'm like, is this like a choice? Or is it their uniform? So I had to like look it up at some point. This is like way before I was like actually into reading Witch Hat Atelier. I don't know if that's correct in terms of like the little collar that they have for their uniforms. But man, I guess it'll be shown in the first episode on why Coco becomes a witch. I always think about what expression do I want to give her, because I don't want her to overlap too much with Tatia, who also has a very kind of like ganky, happy demeanor. Cute. So I am adjusting my style just a smidge to match the characters a little bit. So I'm hoping that they don't look too out of character. New layer, and we can add our color. So I'm gonna do something similar. I'm gonna grab Qifrey's skin tone. I'm gonna start up here. We have our base color for our skin. Okay, next we want our background color. So, oh, I guess I should merge all these. So I think we're good. We're gonna alpha lock, and I'm also going to erase even more. Technically, I don't even have to erase these. You could just use white. I'm gonna make the purple a little bit more prominent, maybe for the girls, just because I like purple and kind of that teal color together sometimes. And I feel like you guys know that I love this color a lot. It's kind of like the color of Danheng a little bit as well, and some of the accent colors. Pop these into shadow. Let me give her a little bit of a highlight too. But Coco is so cute. Should I draw the brush buddy? I guess maybe I'll draw it with Riche. But all the girls have like such fun hair colors. We have Coco kind of with this lime greeny kind of hair color. And then we have Agot with kind of like a dark black, almost, I guess like it's a dark purple, almost black. But I feel like it's more purple. You have Riche, who has like a baby sky blue or pastel blue, and then you have Tatia with like a very vibrant, cute kind of pink color. Blue here to the back. I also forgot to give her her background color, which I don't know what to give her actually. I was gonna say if we give everyone blue, but then Riche's hair color gets washed out. I could give her purples in contrast to Agot. But because of the purple, I'm gonna add a little bit of purple into her hair. Knock back. I'm like extremely curious on who people's favorite characters are though in this manga, because I think I have definitely a hard time picking my favorites out of the girls, for sure. And as much as I love Qifrey like a lot, Olruggio is just I do like him a lot. It's like making it darker is one thing, but then I think I just gravitate towards making shadows cooler. And like I said, I might add lighting at the very bottom. So clipping mask, we'll add a add layer. Okay, I think we're good. So we're gonna merge these down one by one. I always leave like the shine to the upper, I guess you call this the lash line, I guess. Because if I cover it, I can just always add it back in. But if I can, I'll just leave it. Also, for some reason, I've been binge watching a bit of Taskmaster. It's so fun. I was gonna watch it while drawing today, but because I switched over to doing more of like a talking real-time video, I cannot concentrate on watching something and obviously talking. So playing music that either has no lyrics or a song that's like I'm more familiar with is something that I can typically put in the background and still talk and actually have like thoughts. Agot and Riche will probably be easier for me to draw eyes wise. I think Tatia is kind of like in the same wheelhouse as Coco here, with the bigger wide-eyed expression. Okay, we're gonna liquefy because it is a little bit too much. And like I said, I think it's because like one of them is more centered than the other, so it definitely makes it a little bit harder. It could also be because of making things too like directly focused on it. I think her eyes being so light initially was also bugging me. So adding a little bit more of that darker color at the top kind of balances it out. But in Pokopia, I finally have Chandelure. Every time I kept checking my Withered Wasteland to check if like, oh, is Chandelure here finally? I have like all the graves and like the candles set up. And lo and behold, I had the wrong candles set up for the longest time. Chandelure needs like the eerie candles, and I put the sleek ones because that's what Litwick and Lampent needed. And oh my lord. It's literally like I turned around for like maybe 1 minute and I came back and then there he was, Chandelure. And he's so cute. I think I got Blossom recently, which I'm happy about because I wanted initially to have like Oddish Gloom, Vileplume, and Blossom to be the ones in my greenhouse, and or Hoppip and Skipplume and Jumpluff, but I think I might move them somewhere else. Kind of want to add like little stars or something in her eyes. Because I love how much like excitement she has when learning about magic. So I'm trying to think, how do I want to do this? Because I know if this is coming out on Saturday, then I have Monday's video, which I might do more Witch Hat stuff. And then I think next Saturday, it's going to be the Pokemon cards, hopefully. So I really wanted to get started on those, but I did not have the time. Also, I'll probably put a disclaimer at the very beginning so I don't forget to talk about it, but also so you guys can be a little bit wary. If you're also watching like Witch Hat Atelier or you're reading it, whichever, try to keep your comments about either characters or the storyline kind of vague so that you're also not spoiling it for other people. Because I'm going to try my best to do that. Like I said, there's going to be some things that are going to be a little bit inevitable, but I might not do it for like video so that, you know, if someone wants to casually watch and hang out and chat and, you know, draw along, you're not bombarded by all these Witch Hat stuff that maybe you're waiting to catch up on, or you haven't consumed the media quite yet. I don't know, have I asked you guys this before? Is there a specific genre that you tend to lean towards? Because one I would really like to see more of is kind of like slice of life but fantasy. Freerun does hit a lot of those boxes for me, which is why I love Freerun a lot. It's a little bit more slower paced. There's a lot of like character building for the main cast and some of the other mages and characters that way, and just like in general I love learning about Himmel and their past adventures and stuff. I actually really enjoy. I think like Ascendant of a Bookworm, that one I do want to watch. It was always on my radar because I always thought the main character was so cute, and I liked the premise of it, so I definitely wanted to read and or watch it. And there's another artist that I followed ever since like my middle school days. I think she does a lot of like promotional artwork for them, which I think is very cool. That or she just draws a lot of fan art of them. I can't really tell. I'm trying to think. On the receiving end, are you the type that feels obligated to gift things back to somebody? I don't mean like if I give you an apple as a gift, you give me the apple back because you don't want to receive the gift, you know what I mean? I mean in the sense like if I were to draw you something, do you feel compelled to draw something back as a gift? Because I will never gift anything expecting someone to give me something back, you know? Because I do like gift giving. I like drawing for other people too. But I am a little bit more selective. Like if I feel like, you know, we're mutuals or friends, then, you know, I have no problems drawing things for that person. Often like saying like, oh, you know, I will draw anything for you, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of how I treat it for the other person. But I'm like, if I put too much into it, I hope the other person doesn't feel obligated, because that kind of defeats the purpose for me. I don't want to receive something back. But sometimes I do get carried away with like the level of the gift, I guess. Is that how I would describe it? I never wanted to feel it that way. But how do I gift without making the other person feeling like they have to give something back is my problem. I think because I do lack in expression sometimes when it comes to drawing, that I do rely on the eyebrows a heck of a lot. So if the eyebrows are visible, it definitely helps convey whatever emotion that I wanted to express for the drawing. So I definitely do the half and half, even if it's like kind of covered. So in this case, like Coco's eyebrows, half of them are shown and half of them are kind of just like hazy a little bit. I kind of wanted her other hand to be here because I kind of want her to be like the center focal point. But I think once I get like a drawing stream or two out of the way, then we'll test out to see if that capture card even works for what I want it to do. Because I know I said that I wouldn't really be interested in playing any games and streaming it because it makes me nervous, and second, I play games to relax, so, you know, I don't want to do it for as like an obligation. But because I've already played so much of Pokopia kind of like in my own time, I don't mind maybe doing a build with you guys of something. I'm still debating on what I want to make next. Maybe like a resort hotel, a beach hotel type of thing next to my little cafe. That's what I was planning. Or a bunch of like different storefronts or shops or houses, because I need to move the Pokemon out of that weird field space eventually. Because there's also the other areas that we could expand. Like in Withered Wastelands, I want to make it very cottagecore, foresty vibes. Then I want to make it very much like a white, maybe carrot-ish beach seaside place. Because I would like to make it very pink and blue as well, and potentially for rocky ridges. I don't have a plan for that one quite yet, besides making like a mountain shrine of some sort. Okay, last few things we need to work on, then we can move on to our third character. Do I add more orange or like brown into Coco's eyes? Because sometimes it's in there and sometimes it isn't for the drawings. Maybe it is. Okay, maybe we'll add brown to her eyes. Luckily it's not too hard of a fix. I guess I never really noticed how brown her eyes are, technically. Kind of makes more sense. I'm only realizing this because I saw a screenshot of the anime. And I'm like, they're very consistent with how they have the, what is it called? The brownish part for her eyes. I can't tell if it's because of the warm lighting, but then as I'm looking through the art book more and more, some of them are left kind of like blank or light-ish green. You guys are gonna hear my squeaky chair. But then there's some colored artwork where you can clearly see that they also have the brown, but I can't tell if it's because her line work is brown, you know? Because even in this one, you can see that there's like brownish orange in the center. My favorite. Olruggio and Crocs. Let's see. Duty. How can we sketch her? For me, I think the most interesting out of the girls, story-wise, because I think it's because we get hints about stuff about why Agot is here at the atelier and stuff. Same with like Riche, I guess. I guess we get the least about Tatia, I think, unless I'm just misremembering. But for Agot, I don't know how to explain it. I guess like Riche I feel the most bad about, technically, or maybe it's her brother. The more I see it, I'm assuming it's because people also really like their dynamic very similarly to kind of like Qifrey and Olruggio. I just can't wait. I can't wait. I need more Witch Hat. So literally, there's like only, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's like occupying my brain. I think right now it's probably just Witch Hat and Pokopia. I usually never draw noses like this, but sometimes when I do fan art, if I don't copy some of the similar characteristics of the character, they just don't look right. Even though like, even Shirahama herself like draws them more simplified sometimes. So I know this isn't like necessary, it's just necessary for me. Okay, so we're gonna switch over to the manga version. I don't like doing a lot of foreshortening, but I feel like this suits Agot's personality if I do it like this. I always like my gesture for hands, typically. Whenever I have to flesh them out, they always look so wonky. I think it's because I still don't have a good grasp of how it should be performed. It'd be cute to have a Witch Hat Atelier cosplay. Only because I love the colors of it so much. I don't know if I would cosplay one of the kids though. I guess you could just cosplay with the outfit itself and just say that you're from Qifrey's atelier, I guess. So I don't want to give her too much of like a cold expression per se. This is kind of one of those things for like anime where it's like depending on which way they're facing, the bangs kind of change, because sometimes I see them going this way and other times I see them going this way. But for the most part, she just has fairly messy. It's a little bit more wavy and curly, I guess. As long as I make sure that the hair connects, I think we should be okay. I know Agot is a character that I have also kind of struggled with drawing, but like I said, I don't know if it's because of like the texture of her hair is just fun to draw, and it's a little bit like less consistent. It does make it a little bit easier for me to manage her looking a little bit more like herself versus, say, Coco. Okay, hat's going this way, kind of similar to how I want to draw Olruggio, so that it's kind of out of the way a little bit more. I feel like I always make their hats too tall. The angle's a little bit too not steep enough, I guess. I feel like majority of them have like the same outfit look, so shouldn't be too bad. We don't have that much to erase. This is mostly her hat. There's like some areas for her hair. Then after that, I think it's mostly just the text that I need to kind of fix up. Change your sketch to multiply. I guess we only took 20 minutes to sketch Agot, so that's kind of nice. So using selection tool all the way around. Makes it a lot easier to fill in my flats this way. I don't know why I did it any other way before, manually filling by drawing like an outline. And then later on I was like, oh, using the selection tool instead. Because before I would manually fill by brushing it in. Then later on I ended up doing like an outline with the color. And then dragging and dropping the color in. But then it's basically the same if I just use the selection tool. A little bit more shadow, and then work on her hair, which I want to do a nice kind of like rich, kind of like a reddish purple almost. Well, a little bit more warmer of a purple, but like we're going fairly dark. Okay, maybe we'll do her eye color next, because her eye color is very much like just a nice kind of typical purple color, so I think the balance just looks nice because it's definitely much more of a cooler purple at the very top, and then one that's a little bit more warmer at the bottom. Okay, now her hair color. Start fairly dark on this side. As we move across, we can lighten it. I think it's about this color in the anime. Her hair might be a little bit harder for me to color because I do have to chunk out some stuff that will help shape her hair, but also I don't want to lose the values that I have here. Yeah, hers is going to be a little bit more difficult for me to the color because I'm going to have to care about where some of the shapes connect. Because I didn't make her hair as textured at the top, so I might have to add some in later. So kind of the lighting come off from the opposite side from Coco. I give her a little bit of a highlight as well on her, like the side of her nose. I think that's it, yeah. We'll just alpha lock this part. Change our sketch color to be much lighter. Merge down, and we're ready for rendering. I don't think I'm doing any lighting for this one in particular, so we can just probably get started. So luckily for me, her eyes are a little bit easier for me to render out, just because it's a little bit more standard to my usual procedure. Do I want to add green to her eyes? For purple, I tend to lean a little bit more blue or pink, but pink is already have it down here, so why not add a little bit of green? Also, it made me really happy. So I mentioned earlier that I have my first like consignment up. Basically, it's like another store hosts kind of like other people's small businesses or like little shops, I guess. So this place does like gifts and stationery and books and like many cute things. And they had like a vendor spot open, so I decided to apply because I was meaning to, but I didn't know if it was worth it because I think it's $75 per month, so I need to make back that amount for me to make it feel like it's worth it. But I'm already happy. I'm already halfway there. It's only been 2 days. I'm just glad people like the products, because I was scared I have to go back to like kind of fix the, what is it called? My display. Because some of my cards are covered just with the layout. The cards like kind of cover one another, so I need to look into either signage or something to help flesh it out a bit more so that it doesn't sit so funnily. That, or just have like a little mini catalog almost like in front of it, because I might have to restock a little bit on Monday, because I think that's majority of my Danheng PT photo cards. So I think there's only 4 left, so I need to go restock again at some point. Because I would love to add some Witch Hat stuff in there if I can. That, unless I go full on research, because I would love to research different types of borders and flowers to have like proper meaning. But you guys have to let me know who's your favorite character or characters in Witch Hat Atelier, because I cannot separate any of these 6 characters. So I keep getting so much Agot and Coco on my timeline. I think they're very cute. I might look into some places that might do gold foil photo cards. That, or I can do some testing, because I have an idea, but I don't know how long lasting it is. Because I can technically do foil on my own, but I use 2 different printers for my stuff. So technically you can use a laser printer and do foil, because as long as you have a laminator, like a laser printer, so basically it adheres its toner via heat. And that toner kind of becomes sticky, and the foil can adhere to it if you run it through a laminator, because it basically reactivates that toner again. Also, in some like frames of the manga, her hair actually sticks out a little bit more over the hat portion. Then the next one I probably have to worry about is Olruggio. Because Riche, at least like when I sketched her traditionally, she's a little bit easier for me to draw. Tatia can kind of go like either way. I sometimes draw her a little bit too derpy because it gets into that really like happy expression kind of realm. Kind of like how Coco is. There, Agot is done. So that's 3 out of the 6 that we're gonna do. So next up we're gonna do is Riche. I feel like this pose would work best for Tatia, but you know, it's okay. Guess we'll have the brush buddy here. I always like drawing this expression on him. I want to get some fuzzy white yarn to make one, because someone made like a tutorial on how to make a brush buddy with crochet. So cute. So I might want to look into that. So there's a part in the manga that really showcases Riche's, I guess, like her kind of like her demeanor, because she has like a very specific resolve, but there's something that challenges it, and I'm still debating on. Not debating. I'm thinking of where do you think the anime is gonna stop? Because I think there is no official anime episode count. Because there's rumor that's saying it was gonna be a full 24. The one that was circulating, especially more rampantly, was one that says it was only 13. Kind of wondering. I think people are leaning towards the fact that it's gonna be the one that's gonna be. But I'm thinking, where would it be? Where would it be? Is it before this? 'Cause I don't know how much they're gonna be able to cover. Also, I feel like I want this guy. I don't know. I don't know how I want the brush buddy to be, but can have them kind of hanging out. I guess for her hair, I should establish where her hairline would be. She has fairly short bangs. Because I like the fact that none of the girls are really timid. Riche, like I said, kind of has like her very specific resolve about why or how she approaches magic. I'll erase this. Now hopefully we have enough room for the names still. But even her like character arc, I guess. Or I guess maybe the first time you get to see that her opinions about something is kind of tested. Because like I said, I feel like a lot of the girls get that treatment, but I really love that arc. Because there's another character there and I was like, oh my lord. I felt so bad. Wait, that's kind of the reason why this, you know, anime is not like sunshine and rainbows. Also, I'm gonna look up the brush buddy. I forget if that's actually what it looks like. If you don't put brush buddy as one word, you get something else. Oh, his hands are much smaller. This is why you have to use reference. So 15 minutes to sketch, and then we will make a new layer. We'll set this to multiply. Plop in a color. I guess I'll make it like a pinky-ish color so you can contrast a little bit with Tatia. Let's color in the neck. eyebrows might be a little bit big. I think we can shrink them a little bit because the thumbs, not the thumbs, the fingers, we can kind of like shrink the width of it. Usually don't make the bottom portion of the eyes so prominently, like with one color of, whoops, I didn't really render her eye, did I? With a prominent, like, kind of like half circle at the very bottom. I think because I'm following a little bit more closely with the manga and the anime did it, so I ended up putting a little bit more of a prominent secondary color at the very bottom. I might take a look at the seiyus again, because I actually don't know if all the seiyus for the apprentices, are they all new? If it is, then that's great, because I think that's kind of cool that they kind of went that route, and then having their two mentors basically be also two more senior voice actors in the industry. And I don't remember, did they release who voices Isis? Because I'm kind of like on the fence on how I want him to, or how I imagined him to be sounding like. Is it actually like very deep? Or a little bit lighter than Olruggio? Back on the weight. iPad, please. Or is it Procreate? I can't tell. Somebody tells me maybe it's Procreate, because sometimes my iPad's like functioning just fine. Okay, so same thing, alpha lock. Make everything a lot lighter, so that we can figure out how we want to do the rendering. So how the heck am I supposed to make her eyes more droopier? Every time I'm drawing, I think about Pokopia, and then when I'm not, when I'm playing Pokopia, all I can think about is drawing. I think she was the fastest for me to draw, but I think she looks the least like herself. Other than Coco, maybe. So I don't know if I still like how I drew Coco. Finally get him. Yes! This freaking fruit fly and me have beef. Finally. He's gone! Okay, I'll quickly do outline of her face. I'll go back to the eye in a bit. Oh, I forgot. The thing I want to build is like a haunted mansion. Or a haunted library? Because I want to put my ghost types there. Because right now in my palette town, I have Chandelure, even though Lampin and Lit Wick is chilling in Withered Wastelands, I'm probably gonna move them. So they can be with Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar whenever the heck he decides to show up. Because he has not appeared. Also the fruit fly thing? There's like one humongous fruit fly, which I'm hoping the one I hit was the one that was been bothering me for the last like 5 days. because my mom has these, I think they're gladioluses flowers that for some reason, I don't know if it's I'm overwatering them or my mom's overwatering them. I think it's something to do with the soil, but there's like fruit flies coming from it. Where did they come from initially? I have no clue, but they're escaping down here, which I hate. Which is also another reason, like, I don't like eating in my office area because of that. Before, like, there's always like been tons of bugs. I think you guys have seen it from, I think last year during like a con prep video, there was like an ant was like driving me up the wall that you could see, because there's places in this place that are low-key, I feel like they're just unsealed. I think also because of the style that Shirahama does with all like the detailing, the hatching. The details for the eyes, I just wish I could include. Almost like that feeling of putting like all the little lashes and all that stuff. It makes them very like delicate feeling. I think next week, yeah, I can't wait to... Either I'm gonna go fully insane and make it just a full like Witch Hat Atelier week, or it will be 100% that Pokemon card video that I want to do, because I just want to draw little guys, little critters. But there is another character that I like, and I want to like slap his master, his mentor, whatever you want to call it, because they're so mean. But them and Riche, oh my god. I love their dynamic, but it makes me so sad. His silly little 3 hairs. I also really like the Brush Buddy because he kind of copies like their little actions in some of the panels, and he's just so derpy and cute. I don't know if the white yarn that I have is fluffy enough. I think you need like that teddy bear yarn. I'm gonna see if I can find some, because I would love to make my own little Brush Buddy. And there's another fruit fly. Okay, I'm gonna get this guy. I think this one's bigger. Where'd he go? No! Where are they coming from? You are not safe. Where the heck did it go? I need to do something with those plants. Dang fruit flies. I think it's because I'm a little triggered. Every time I see like a speck on the ground, I think it's like a little beetle. And then every time I look at the wall, I think it's an ant. But it's stupid. Fruit fly. We're gonna liquefy her eyes a smidge. Oh, yeah, I think I talked about this probably in Wednesday's video. About, Fate Strange Fake. Because I was watching that, and I'm waiting for, I don't know when season 2 is supposed to come out. I'm so mad at the ending of season 1, like the cliffhanger, what the heck? Because I like a lot of the servants that are in Fate Grand Order, like the game. So my knowledge of certain shows or part of the series for that is limited, but I do know some. And I did watch the one that had Waver or Lord Elmaloy. So I think it's like the case files of Lord Elmaloy or something like that. And there's some other characters in there, like Flat, which is the reason why I even wanted to watch this one, technically, because I knew Flat, and I liked Waver. But man, oh, I should ask my brother if he knows spoilers. I can't tell if he's playing dumb with me about what I think about what happened to that ending. So I can't tell if he knows spoilers. And here I am, like, ranting about what I think, because I refuse to believe that somebody perished. Yeah, but there's Riche, I think, Who else do we have left? So we have Tatia and we have Olruggio. Let me think of how I want to draw Tatia, because I would like her to be more like peppy, but I'm scared of having her hand and or hat in the way. I hate the iPad update. It sucks so much. Okay. But enough of that. Let's draw our wonderful Tatia. So, how do I describe Tatia? She's very cheerful. Definitely, I feel like she would be like kind of the leader of the group technically. I know some people might argue it might be one of these two, but I feel like it's Tatia. She feels a little bit more older sister-ish to the four of them. The three of them-ish. Because I think she has like a very strong mental attitude. Is that how I can describe it? There's like one part that's like kind of in her and Agot's kind of thing that showcases something I like a lot about Tatia, so I wish I could show it. But she's also very like cutesy, which I also very much love. If I had to describe her, I feel like she'd be like a girl's girl. You know what I mean? I'm gonna shrink her down a little bit because I want to fit her hair. Because her design is so cute. Very thin brows. I'm glad I restarted. I can't imagine continuing with those other Witch Hat doodles, which I don't mind keeping them as doodles, you know? And just leaving them. But I would not have put this much effort because I feel like those ones I would have done a lot just to dislike. And that's like one of the worst feelings. These nice big round eyes. Might make her a little bit more excited. So giving her a bit more of a wide eye expression. So I want to make sure that her head is kind of at an angle that I can point her hat in a certain direction. So it is going to change a little bit of how I can almost give her a very cute pose like this. So I'll draw too large of hands. This could be cute. I should really be drawing these on a separate layer so that I can always shift and move them. But I never remember. I feel like she would have good leader qualities. Because despite her like very cheerful, cutesy kind of demeanor, I feel like she's very calm when when you need somebody to be, you know? She kind of puts her feelings aside. Make sure that everyone else is okay before putting herself next. Even though like she'd be like just as afraid as the other girls. So to me, she's very leader-like. And her whole thing about like thank yous, I think is so cute. She's like, I love her. She's so cute. So one thing I always forget about their uniform is the backside. I think the white bands that are kind of like drape over their shoulders here, they loop back and make a very, how do I explain it? I think it's this patterning, right? Of some sort on the back. Which I really like, but I never draw the backside. But I need to remind myself that's what it looks like, so I will draw more of that kind of angle if I need to. There's some pictures of Tatia where I see the bangs are not as like how to explain it? All the way across her head. It's a little bit more tailored towards just like the front portion. I do worry a little bit for Tatia though. There's that one character that I can't tell if he's friend or foe. Okay, let's lower the bangs a bit. Cause she has like definitely really kind of puffy, wavy hair. I guess, is it wavy? Maybe it's more curly. I think every time I switch between looking at the anime version versus like her in the manga. Kind of reach into two little cute shorter pigtails. I should have said this at the beginning too. I know I said I was like more hesitant towards like, oh, I don't want to talk about certain things, let's say like about a show, if I don't have like a full grasp of it, because I don't like when I'm going to be like misinterpreting characters or something like that. So because of that, at this point, like where I am with Witch Hat Atelier, I do have a good grasp of certain things and probably a poor grasp of other things. So I do apologize like sometimes when I talk about certain characters if maybe you don't agree with how I view them or how I explain them. Feel free to just inform me, because I don't want to shy away from the things I like either, you know? I'm gonna lower her ponytail because I think how I have it right now is on the right place where it makes sense with the placement of her hat. So I wasn't able to include all of her hair into here because Girly has a lot of hair. Kind of depends on how much I want it to cut into Riche and Olruggio. Might shuffle her eye over. This is how we're gonna draw Tatia. So let's go ahead and erase some of these lines. Now luckily she is in the front. Oof, we won't have that much room for her Coco's name. Might tilt her hat a bit then. Something like that. At least we'll get the full shape of at least somebody's hat. Okay, so we're gonna set this to multiply. Lighten up our lines. Same skin tone I think as Riche, which should be the same as the rest. Also start to erase some of the border as well, so that I don't get too lost with... For some reason I thought erasing this wouldn't be that obvious. I forgot my layer order. It should be like this. There's nothing wrong. I'm trying to think, how can I pose Olruggio so that he's not going to be covered too much up by Tatia, and that his hat won't be obstructing too much of Agot. We'll see. Because I already had to nerf Tatia's hair, which makes me sad. Maybe I will get rid of this and maybe we'll fill this in so that she has more volume. Maybe get rid of the bottom lip. I'm still deliberating in my brain. Trying to figure out how do I want to draw Olruggio, because I know he's gonna be the harder one for me to draw. Inside of the mouth. We do teeth. So her eye color is also more of like, I think it's a reddish pink. guess we'll use like a purpley blue. Oh, I didn't do a background color for her. Let's use a softer blue for the upper portion of her eyes. Okay, maybe the highlight's a little too big. Cute. Okay, so hair color. A little bit brighter. Pink is, I've talked about this as well. Pink is like one of those hair colors that I always find very difficult to color. Sometimes it leans too peachy, sometimes it's a little too like purpley and too cool. So I want to be a little bit cautious about how I choose the colors for it, because even when you get lighter for highlights, is it too like yellowy? Am I leaning too purpley white? Is it too blue? The highlight's very bright. I'm gonna lean it towards yellow. The same kind of turquoisey, tealy color here. So I think for the most part, we have our general look for how I want Tatia to look like right now with the colors. I might add a little bit more. I'm gonna grab the blue from Riche. Leaning some of the shadows a bit even deeper of a purple. Okay, so I think merge down and we're good to go for rendering. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Same thing for the fifth time I can count. I feel like I made their hats very green, especially for Riche and I've always seen people use the word cutie-ful. I feel like she fits that category. All the girls do, but especially Tatia. She's really like girly pop in a way. Do not forget little lashes, because everyone's oh so cute. Okay. I'm keeping the eyes like fairly simple. I feel like sometimes I go really ham with some of the detailing and the coloring. With this kind of like bottom color being a little bit more in focus, I don't mind if everything else is a little bit not as like super detailed. And as usual, I like darkening up like kind of that center portion. Or not center portion, the upper portion near the highlight. I think we hit that point where I have like nothing else to say, especially during the rendering portion. It's very straightforward, especially if this is our 5th character that we're doing. I'm trying to think what else like of Witch Hat Atelier I haven't like really touched upon. Because I'm pretty sure this is the series that like, it won't die down that fast for me. I'm just glad I can go in with kind of like full swing of everything because there's the anime. I have something to look forward to. Which sounds a little sad, but I mean like in the anime-ish world, because Freerun season ended. What else ended? Journal with Witch I was watching. Fate Strange Fake I was also watching. I always get that title wrong. Hanakimi ended I think a week earlier, so I wasn't really missing anything for that. Which is funny because I think we've hit the winter season in the manga. And just because of how much the weather is in my province, both are very fitting. I still like the fact that when I get to do kind of darkening up these sketch lines, it really does bring everything together, because this versus this. I just like the contrast. music that I can do, like use to tune stuff out. Because whenever I'm doing these longer formed videos like this, the music is to more like, you know, occupy my brain. It makes me feel a little bit more relaxed. But if I want to tune things out, I usually put it at, like, you know, a higher volume, something a little bit more upbeat. Because like I said, this thing feels like it's kind of rattling my brain. I did find, so I think a lot of you guys already know, Mewtwo lives with me right now because I accidentally let him live in my house because I did not make like a habitat or any sort that I had extra room, and I was too lazy to go make one, so I just made him room with me for now. I'm gonna boot him out a little bit later because I might make like little resort houses or something for them, or cottages. We'll see what direction I go. Then he can move out. But other than him, I think the only other legendary that I have is Raikou? Raikou? Editing this might be a nightmare though. Try to cut down as much footage as I can. Like, I think I could do it now if that was like solely the only thing I was working on. But obviously, if you're juggling too many things, it's hard to maintain. Okay, here's this cutie. So we have Tatia. It's all finished. And last but not least, we have Olruggio, which I'm scared to do. I might break out my sketchbook so I can kind of double check. We're gonna do something similar to this. Always drawing like your favorite character, I feel like it's sometimes more nerve-wracking. Because either you're scared to screw it up, or it's the opposite, where you've drawn the character so many times that there's no way for you to screw it up. I have not drawn him that much, technically. Like, if you had to compare me drawing Olruggio versus me drawing Donhun PT, Donhun PT has like a heck of a lot. This is just small face. So it's gonna look off. Elongate and stretch. The highlight makes him so like I'm gonna use the word again, cutie-ful. Because technically I've seen artwork where he's very pretty. Beautiful lashes. Also, I've also talked about this before, where I love when characters, typically I think it's male characters, have kind of like the crisscross bangs to a certain degree, because it hangs quite low on their face. Maybe not this low, so maybe we'll bring it up a smidge. This might be kind of cut off. This is the only way I can kind of fit in his hood. It's cow tall to make the hat. I think puts on a appropriate sized hat. So right now we're not struggling. I'm probably gonna struggle doing the rendering. Okay, I think this is the best that I'm gonna do for this. I know I made his eyes very like moe-ish looking. He looks so much younger, and then do this, bam, facial hair. I saw like spoilers about the tassel for Olruggio and stuff. I won't get into it. But oh my lord, once I got to that chapter, I'm like, why? Why do this? Right at the very end. By the way, don't talk to yourself like that. I mean it as a joke, kind of, like a half joke to myself. I just know my own tendencies, and I know one of them is that I do get tired. Because at this point, if I spend at least an hour on each of them, we've been doing this for at least 6 hours. And I've been taking on and off breaks because I have to. Otherwise, I think I might go insane. Grab a little bit of this purple to lay on top. Let's use that for the deeper shadows here, since it'll be easier just to color back. So I think we're good for skin for the most part. I feel like I might have made it a little bit too red. Let's darken up his hair. His hair is just basically just black. I like to kind of change the color a bit. So we're gonna lean it towards more of a kind of like a blue. Probably would have been easier for me to also fill in by changing the sketch color. So I'm gonna leave it a little bit patchy so that we have a little bit of wiggle room. I'm gonna treat this like how I treated Qifrey. I might put a tiny bit more care into it just because I feel like I'm gonna screw this up royally. I think he looks cute. But like I said, I'm very biased towards Olruggio. Olruggio is he's definitely my favorite. Definitely made him more cutie. But it's kind of how I view him a little bit. Because I would say like Olruggio would be more like tough love. But I can't even say that because he honestly is so nice. Like he's so warm and nice and he takes care of them. Because even, you can't really say like, the way how Qifrey and Olruggio treats like the girls in terms of like low-key like teaching them and stuff. I can't even say like Olruggio is like bad cop or anything like that. Same with like Qifrey. Even though Qifrey is very much like the softer one, for sure, like 100%. But like watching him and his like the way how he was before till now, the contrast. Qifrey as a kid and like Olruggio as a kid. I can't believe it. These two. So let's see if I even like what his eyes look like at this point. Because like I said, during my sketch, pretty sure I liked it. At this point, don't know if I will. So in the anime, he has very kira kira, kind of like sparkly sheen to his eyes. So this guy's not dead inside, you know? 'Cause I honestly think he looks good. Not like my drawing, just in general for him. Because I tend to draw eyes like a lot larger, which is why a lot of my drawings and stuff lean towards more the cutesy side. Wow, my back. So I kind of kept his eyes on the simple side. But not gonna lie, as much as I find Qifrey very pretty, like he's very handsome and very pretty, right? And he's soft. Like that's usually ticks off a lot of my boxes. But I do like dark-haired characters. I just do. There are some exceptions, obviously, because I do like Nouvellette. Clearly has white hair. I feel like there's another one that I really like that has like a bit more like lighter hair. That's Steinon, but like I like Donhung more. Donhung has like just straight up black hair. I forget, Gray from Fairy Tail, does he have blue eyes? Because right now all I'm thinking about is like cool black-haired characters. Kudo, Gray. Because like I said, it really fits like Yuichi Nakamura, at least to me. I'm like hopping all over the place. I can't tell if I feel confident or not. I'm just like super curious on what my friend's gonna say in terms of her favorite character. Because I'm really banking that it's Qifrey. Because like I said, I'm gonna feel so bad if it was Olruggio and I didn't give her the option to pick the card. Granted, she never requested the cards. It was kind of like by my own volition about, oh, I'm gonna buy some Witch Hat Atelier cards. I'm gonna share some with you. But I'm gonna feel so bad. I might look online to see if they have them. Okay, let's figure out. No, I'm gonna focus up here first, and then we'll go down to where his facial hair and stuff is. Because I need to figure out how I want to even approach that. I always like to give anybody who's round some like wispy flyaways here, because when they're too round, it throws me off, so I feel like I need to give them a little bit of like oomph. Also, I really like his type of magic. It really fits his technically his personality. I guess like upon the first glance you might think like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? Why is he kind of mean? He means well. And he truly does, because like the way he warms up, so cute. Let me just say I can just be happy with the fact that he wasn't like a nightmare to draw. That's always like one of the worst feelings, is like you can't draw your favorite character. It could be for like different reasons. For me, it's just like his type of character just is not in my wheelhouse, even though I know it's just like pretty man with bam facial hair. I think he's looking good. And then I could edit tomorrow though. I might do it tonight. Get it out of the way. You have no idea how happy I am. I didn't butcher him too terribly. Okay, I think its hair is pretty much finished. I don't have to do too much here. Because even for some of the other characters, I didn't flesh it out that much. It's okay. It's okay. Just because it's a bad hand doesn't mean the drawing is entirely scrapped. I mean, it can be, but I won't. Because I don't hate myself that much. I think I'm hitting delirium. My posture. Oof. I don't know how audible that was. I think when I was crocheting my pillows a couple of months ago, I had such bad posture. Like super bad. And all I was like, I was sitting really poorly in my chair. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so I actually might liquefy Tatia's face once more. Even though she's my favorite, her face looks so narrow. Maybe a little bit better? I think so. Okay, so last thing we have to do is add names. I'm gonna see if I can find something that looks more like a marker. Guess this will work. Yeah. Ooh, I forget how to do a handwritten cue. Guess I won't do it. Let's alpha lock it, and then we can make the colors and tailor them towards each person. So we'll do that for Qifrey. Gonna grab her hair color for Coco. Gonna grab her eye color. I'm gonna grab Riche's eye color as well. Tatia, her hair color. Olruggio, I'll grab this color, I guess. Okay, I think we're done. We're finally done. Oh my lord. It's gonna be the longest video ever. Watch none of the audio recorded, and I'm gonna have to do a voiceover, which is gonna suck. But maybe for you guys it'll at least be shorter. Making sure I didn't spell anybody's name wrong. Qifrey, Coco, Agot, Riche, Tatia, Olruggio. I think we're good. We're good. Let me show you guys the time lapse, and then you guys can get the cleaner time lapse at the very end alongside with the close-ups, hopefully, of our 6 characters. Basically our 6 protagonists of Witch Hat Atelier. So we have Qifrey, our actual main protagonist, Coco. We have Agot, part of the Atelier, one of the apprentices of Qifrey. We have Riche and the little brush buddy, also apprentice of Qifrey under the Atelier. Tatia, a cheerful girl, also another apprentice under Qifrey's Atelier. And last but not least, our other master, I guess, who also works at the Atelier along with Qifrey. Master Olruggio. And that is it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this extremely long video. I'm probably delirious at this point. Because I would like to probably split this up into 2 different drawing days instead of cramming it all into one. But you know, I was gung-ho about drawing the characters, so hopefully, yeah. I'm just hoping the best for the anime. I'm so excited. I want chapter 95 to fully come out so I can talk about Snowman Olruggio. But I think that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys next time in the next video. Probably sometime next week. I think, yeah, sketchbook video will be on Monday, and that's when this anime will be released. So I'm so excited. But I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!